I still remember the sound of their laughter. It wasn't loud, just sharp enough to cut through the walls of my childhood bedroom. Dad's low chuckle, Mom's sigh that carried pity, and my sister's voice, bright and perfect. He means well, he's just not like us. I was the dumb one. That was my title, my inheritance. The night of her graduation party, the city lights pressed against the mansion windows like 100 uninvited eyes. The place smelled of champagne and arrogance. I sat at the back of the ballroom, watching her bask in every compliment, every camera flash, while Dad announced her future like a proud king addressing his court. "She'll inherit everything," he said into the mic. "The house, the accounts, even the Tesla. She's earned it." Applause, laughter, and me, silent, invisible. That's when the stranger walked in. Dark suit, calm eyes. He didn't look like he belonged, which meant he probably did. He stopped beside me, slipped an envelope onto my lap, and whispered, "Now's the time to show them who you really are." He left before I could speak. I didn't need to. I already knew. They'd always assumed I was slow because I didn't talk much. I let them. Words never worked for me the way silence did. Silence listens. Silence observes. When my sister got into Harvard, they celebrated by selling my car to help with tuition. When I started a small IT business, they called it a cute hobby. So I learned. I studied what mattered: systems, networks, people. 3 years ago, I noticed something strange. A file on Dad's desktop, locked, hidden. A trust fund document. My name was on it once, then crossed out. My sister's name written beside the correction. The handwriting was Mom's. That was the moment the noise in my head went quiet. I didn't react. I adapted. Over the next 2 years, I became their shadow, fixed their computers, helped manage their online accounts. They never asked how I could afford the new apartment, or the quiet confidence in my voice. I was still the dumb one, after all. But every password, every signature, every transaction, I archived it. Every financial whisper, every shell company they used to hide assets, I traced it. And when my sister posted about her big law internship, I smiled, because the firm she'd joined was one I'd quietly invested in through a holding company she didn't know I owned. Control is best served invisible. The envelope that night contained a single flash drive, my own creation, a trail of evidence, contracts, transfers, digital fingerprints leading to one conclusion. They had evaded taxes for years. The trust, the mansion, the millions, all of it soaked in fraud. And the signature on the falsified inheritance clause? My father's, forged by my mother. I gave the drive to a journalist the next morning. Anonymous drop. By noon, the story broke. By evening, their lawyer wouldn't answer their calls. But that was only the beginning. A week later, my sister came to me, mascara streaked, voice trembling. "Do something," she begged. "They're saying we could lose everything." I looked at her for a long time. I didn't. "I told you once," I said quietly. "I wasn't dumb. You just weren't paying attention." I transferred the deed to my name that night, legally, cleanly. The documents had been signed a year prior, when Dad asked me to help set up a new business account. He hadn't read the fine print. He never did. The Tesla sat in the driveway the next morning, keys already in the ignition. The confrontation came 3 days later. Dad stormed into my apartment, what used to be his investment property. He looked smaller. "You destroyed us," he said. "No," I replied. "You built your empire on a lie. I just removed the scaffolding." Mom stood behind him, trembling. My sister cried quietly. I handed him another envelope. This one contained the signed confession from his accountant. My last move. "You have 12 hours before this goes to the IRS," I said. "If you cooperate, maybe you keep your freedom." He didn't speak, just stared at me like I was a ghost he'd buried alive. Maybe I was. Now, I live in the mansion that once echoed with their laughter. The walls are quiet. My sister works as a paralegal in some small firm upstate. My parents moved into a rental, still pretending it's temporary. Sometimes I walk past the mirror in the hallway and almost don't recognize myself. Not because I've changed, but because I finally look like the person they were too blind to see. People say revenge doesn't heal you. They're right, it doesn't. It simply clears the debris so you can start building something real. And when I drive past Harvard in that Tesla, I don't think of her anymore. I think of the boy they called dumb, the one who learned how to stay quiet long enough to be underestimated.